Let the band play.
100K on the protect, living life with no regrets. Cause I know when I get dressed, summertime I'm with a fresh. Put a leg behind her head. Night she gonna bed. Bye. Every day it's a new test. I just keep chasing these checks. Living life with no regrets. Living life with no regrets.
Welcome back, Sled Talk listeners, to the next episode. This is episode 13. And we are doing another virtual podcast. So bear with us with any kind of interruptions via audio or video, because we never know, something might happen since we're not doing this in person. So today's guest is Scott Eyer, hailing from, you from Coeur d'Alene?
Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Yep.
Nice, cool. So Scott, let's just jump right into this episode with you. And I appreciate you coming on here. Schedule wise, I know you live a crazy real estate life, so I appreciate you taking the time to jump on here and do this. So yeah, give the listeners and the viewers a little bit of backstory about who you are, where you're from, what you do. Let's jam on the personal side.
Okay. Well, just to start, my name's Scott Eyer, as he introduced me as. I'm from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I'm 26 years old. Been actually doing real estate now for 2.5 years. So I had a few years doing that. I like to ride snowmobiles.
Hell yeah. So, okay. So, and you had said earlier before we started recording, you are married too?
Yep, been married for 1.5 years now, just over 1.5 years.
Nice. Congrats.
Yeah.
Have any kids?
She actually rides snowmobiles.
Oh,
so.
She does? Yeah. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's a winner.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you guys have any kids?
No kids.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
We're waiting a little bit for that.
Understand. Cool. So yeah, so real estate, right? So for those of you that don't know, I'm also a real estate agent in Oregon. And so Scott, let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, obviously we're going to get into all good things snowmobiling. But since I've never met you in person or anything, obviously, I know you listen to, you're good friends with Jaden, who was on episode 11, I believe, and you ride with him and whatnot. So I guess we'll get into all the sledding stuff, but let's jam on some real estate stuff for a little bit because we have that in common. So what were you doing before you got into real estate?
So I was actually working commercial construction. I kind of bounced around different things. I went to Walla University actually for a little while there.
Oh, okay.
And I jumped around. I mean, I was doing dentistry, pre-dent business. I was doing all sorts of different stuff, and then realized I was spending a bunch of money on school, and I was like, well, I'm not going to go to a private school anymore, so I figured I went back to Cheney, which is my hometown, where I'm from originally.
Okay.
I went to Eastern Washington University for a while, took some business classes, and then decided to take some time off and work construction. So did that for a while. I don't even know. It had been 5-6 years or so.
Okay.
I don't know exactly, but I was doing that during the summers when I had time off and make money for sledding, and then finally realized that I wanted to do some real estate. So, yeah.
Heck yeah.
Now I'm a realtor.
Heck yeah. That's awesome. I mean, I definitely think, I honestly think we should probably set up another call just to jam on that a little bit more. I'd like to pick your brain on a couple of things. Get into my side of things a little bit as far as like why I'm a real estate agent. So I've done digital marketing for like the last 5 years, and I had real estate agents and mortgage lenders as clients. So doing like branding, videography, lead generation, all that stuff for them. All the Facebook ads, all that good fun stuff. And I kind of just got to the point where this might sound bad, but I kind of realized that like a lot of real estate agents, or the ones I was dealing with, don't really like to get on camera and don't really understand the digital space. And so I kind of just, the reasoning why I got into it was I was just like, screw it, I'm just going to utilize this skill set for myself and do the digital marketing, do the lead generation, do all the videography, all that stuff. But it's definitely, yeah, real estate's a lot of fun. It's very demanding for sure. But it's a good time. So, all right, cool. Yeah. Like I said, I think we should connect on that a little bit, deeper off the Sled Talk podcast. But, so let's get into all things snowmobiling, Scott. So, how long have you been riding sleds? When was the first time that you ever threw your legs around one?
Well, since I can remember, I had to have been like 3, maybe.
Oh, nice.
I don't remember.
Sure.
But my grandparents actually were the ones that got me into it, and it was kind of before my family really got into it. And I rode, actually had my first sled was a 600 vertical edge.
Okay.
And 144 track, big mountain.
Oh yeah,
and I was
big time.
And everything. My grandpa got that for me when I was younger, and then we just kind of worked up from there. You know, we could get in the sleds, all the sleds that I've had in my life. But yeah, I've been doing it. I think the first time I was on my own sled was when I was 9, and then I just took off from there. So.
Heck yeah, nice. And so let's talk a little bit about your current setup right now. I know that you were just in the garage a minute ago sitting on your sled, but the audio quality wasn't the greatest, so we had to move into the office. But so yeah, let's talk about the current setup that you're on right now.
Yeah, so right now I have actually 2 sleds right now.
Okay.
I have a 21 Arctic Cat RM, which is a race model. Arctic Cat's one of my sponsors.
Nice.
So I on the race program. We can get into that later, but that's kind of my current setup. It's an Alpha. A lot of people are kind of against them, and I personally love them. They're the ones
I've
most grabbed.
Heard a lot of mixed things.
Yeah, like I was saying, the Alpha. So a lot of people don't really like it, but I love it. It's one of my favorite sleds I've ever ridden. Well, it is my most favorite sled I've ever ridden.
Sure.
It's just so playful, and it's weird the differences that it is from the dual rail. Like I actually have my second sled is a 19 hardcore, which is still the dual rail.
Okay.
And I actually had to ride that sled for a while at the beginning of the season because I had some motor issues with my 21, and then as soon as I hopped back on that Alpha, it was just night and day difference. It was just everything was more effortless, and it was just a lot more playful. So, but yeah, that's my current setup. I have a few little goodies added on to it as well.
Yeah, let's talk about them.
Yeah. So probably one of the biggest. They're all big. I shouldn't say it's not one of the biggest, but one of the biggest changes, I guess, to it is the suspension. I had my shocks sent down. Actually, one of my sponsors, M9 Suspension, down in
Nice.
Redmond, Oregon.
Oh, yeah.
Darren down there, he does shock tuning and stuff. So it's amazing the difference. People don't realize it's such an underrated mod, if you want to call it.
100%. People don't take suspension seriously enough, in my opinion. But
exactly. But yeah, I've got shock tuning done. So I'm running the Fox shocks that come stock on the sled, and then just have them revalved and everything. And then got RSI handlebars. I've been working with them for a few years now.
Nice.
Just more durable, and it's just more comfortable around or ride. And,
I was thinking about getting a set of those for mine. They look pretty nice.
Yeah, dude, it's worth it, man. They like one of the things with the cats, the stock ones, is they roll down. The stock risers roll down really easy, especially when you're throwing reentries and bow ties and hard landings or anything like that. So I've had a lot of times in the past before I was riding for them with the stock bars where it just come down on a hard landing and it just pulls down to your waist and it kind of ruins the shot.
Yeah,
but,
I can imagine.
Road Concepts rear bumper, I took off, I think, 4.5 inches on it, and it's a tapered bumper in the back, which is pretty aggressive for an Arctic Cat, because on Arctic Cats, the rear tunnel is actually shorter to begin with, like from the factory. They've always just been that way. which is nice because they've been a little more playful in the past. But you take off even more, and it just flips over on you super easy. It can get a little rowdy real quick, but and then it's wrapped. I've been working with Wraps actually since I started the sponsorship thing.
Nice.
So I've been with them. It's been like 6 years now, and they're actually the only sponsor that I've been with the whole time.
That's cool.
Which is kind of cool. Just they're kind of like the OG for me, you know.
Sure.
So they've treated me really well, and really enjoyed working with them. So, I'm trying to think of other stuff. Oh, I'm putting on. I just got hooked up with Pinned Performance. They make like running board inserts.
Yeah.
And I'm actually was working on that a little bit today, this morning, and it's going to be pretty cool once I drop those. The color is real.
Oh boy,
good.
Cool. That's exciting.
Got a couple other goodies going on. Road Concepts rail brace. I always try to run a rail brace. I haven't been this season yet, but just gives a little extra support for hard landings and stuff on that.
Would you do that once in a while?
Yeah, I do have some hard landings every once in a while.
Yeah.
But and I think that Straight Line Performance run their mufflers, lightweight mufflers and cans. So, but besides that, it's a stock sled. I mean, it's a mod technically, but it's nothing motor wise. Everything else is stock. I don't like to run aftermarket motor parts just because reliability typically goes downhill, and I put on 17 to 1,800 miles a season, and I can't really afford to be down my sled just for time wise, just because I have trips and everything. So, filming days, all that stuff, I got to make sure I'm available and not broken. So,
heck yeah. No, I don't blame you. Yeah, everything on my sled was all the way around the motor. Like I haven't touched the motor on mine, and I don't know if I honestly even will. But I mean,
in my opinion, it's not really worth it. But I'm not going to lie, a turbo will definitely put a smile on your face. You know,
yes, it will for sure.
Yeah. Anyway,
gotcha. Okay, well, cool. I appreciate you sharing. That's you've got a lot of goodies, and the color scheme. Like I don't know if you've ever looked through my stuff or whatnot, but I like all black everything. My truck, my clothes, like my sled, everything. I don't really care too much for colors, but I will say your sled looks really good. And the color scheme.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
100%. I mean, the little bit of the blue and the green, it looks really good. It's kind of hard to tell on the screen, but we kind of have a similar blue with these lights that we've got going on here. But anyways, your sled looks really good. So let's kind of get into places that you've ridden. So where all have you tracked up?
All over the place.
Yeah.
I've been probably as far south as I rode down in California, Northern California. And then, I've been up north, the Revelstoke, definitely made a few trips up there. Normally when the border is a little more easy to get across, I'll go up there every season. Every time it's fall, make a trip up there around Thanksgiving time. And then, Cook City, Pinedale, Wyoming, and everything in between.
Yeah.
So definitely a lot of travel. The nice thing about where I'm at is it's relatively centered to a bunch of cool areas. Like
100%.
Revelstoke's only 5-6 hours away. You can go down south to Bend if you want to, Oregon area. There's some good riding down there. That's only 6-7 hours.
Right.
You can go east towards Cook City, Montana area. And that's also, it's only it's a little further, but 7 to 11 hours or so, which is kind of cool. But and we have a lot of cool riding locally as well. A lot of phenomenal tree riding, in our area.
It looks like it off of what I've seen for both yours and Jaden's stories.
Yeah. It's a cool area. We do have a little bit of the kind of alpine, like open stuff, but a little bit further north. But the problem with it is like whenever I think of alpine, I think jumps. That's just what goes through my head.
Okay, sure.
And kind of one of the number one things for jumps is having a landing. And so the runouts on a lot of our alpine is just straight trees. So a very high consequence if you fail. It's like your sled's probably going to hit a tree. Pretty much guaranteed. So,
gotcha. I had seen one of your stories. I think you just posted it today about asking people for a snow report in Island Park.
Yeah. So every year, my family actually, my parents ride snowmobiles as well, but they have a timeshare over in Island Park, and ever since they've been riding snowmobiles, we usually do a week over there in Island Park and ride. The report has not been good. The feedback hasn't been great. It's weird. Our winters started super strong, even locally started
Here
super
too.
strong, and now we're getting like 50 degrees in town, and it's just killing our snow in the mountains. Which, I mean, it's not going to stop me because I want to ride no matter what,
Sure,
but
sure.
It's kind of put the damper on things for sure.
No. Yeah, I mean, December was just epic. I mean, it was stacking up everywhere, and I was like, oh, yeah, this year's going to be dope. And then it just came to a screeching halt. I think, Jeff, do you think it was I don't know, 65 probably today?
Today?
Oh, man.
It was 60.
Oh, it's
63.
brutal.
Yeah, so in Hermiston, I mean, we're, at least an hour and a half from the closest place where I ride. But yeah, it was kind of one of those things where like it kind of felt nice, but then I just like wanted to cry because I know what the effect it's having in the mountains. And it's just not. I don't even know. I mean, it's kind of one thing. It seems like a pattern every once in a while, or where it'll warm up for a little bit in February, and then it just straight dumps. And I'm hoping that'll
fingers
happen.
crossed. I'm hoping for that. I'm hoping.
Same.
We'll see.
But it's been pretty brutal as of late. Honestly, the last like 3-4 weeks, it's been pretty bad. And I had, I don't know if you saw in the stories or not, but I had the first SledSend retreat here this last weekend. So I had I had 4 clients fly up from Texas, and one guy came up from Arizona, and literally like 2 or 3 days before they came, we had like 16, 18 inches of fresh at where we were riding. And I was just like, thank Jesus. Because it was just ice, and I was like, these boys are flying up here, spending all this money to go do this, and it's going to be crap snow. So I definitely got blessed by the snow gods on that one for sure. But I mean, even and like after, so Sunday we rode, and it was like 38 degrees, which is hot. Up there,
like in the mountains,
and I mean throughout this week it's in the 40s up there, and I don't know. I'm hoping that it'll change here soon, but I don't know. We'll see. It's out of our hands.
See what happens. I just got back from a call this weekend.
Okay.
And even down there, we actually have more snow up here than they do down there.
Good.
And usually it's not that way at all. But luckily we hit it. It was still cold enough that we still had like kind of some winter snow. They just hadn't gotten a reset in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a few rocks and stumps that we had to avoid. But besides that, it was a good time. It was fun. But,
I mean, any day riding's typically a pretty darn good day.
Exactly. And in fact, I honestly have had one of the best days ever riding snowmobiles in the rain, pouring down rain.
Really?
Like straight up.
Oh boy.
We were actually down in Bend area. One of my buddies, it was actually kind of a crazy story. I went down there, and a lot of my like good riding buddies I've met through Facebook. And they're like, yeah, come on down, no big deal. And I'm like, okay, I'll hop in my truck, and I head down there the weekend.
Here we go.
I'm staying with them at their house, and I've never met them before, but that's like kind of one of the cool things about the snowmobiling community is everybody most of the time is pretty cool and like all in the same boat and want to ride, and
100%.
It's just kind of a cool thing about the industry.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of other industries that are not that way, but
no.
snowmobiling is one of the few. But
for sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so go into a little bit, elaborate on this rain story. What made it such an epic ride?
So I went down again. This was like the first time. So I'd been down there the weekend before riding with them, and that was the first time I'd met them. And I was like, "Oh, this is so good!" I'm kind of like dump snow, springtime, and it was great. And I was like, "I'm coming down next weekend." So sure enough, I couldn't drive all the way home, and then I come back down the next weekend, and we were supposed to go down to Shasta. And so we went down to Shasta and rode there, and it was kind of raining, crappy snow, fogged in, like just wasn't very good. And so my buddy Austin was supposed to come down the next morning and ride with us, and he was like, "We're like, it's not that good. Let's just meet in the middle."
Sure.
So we went to Diamond Lake. Down there, and it's kind of like in between.
Yeah.
And met there. It was like afternoon because we've been driving all day coming back, and pouring down rain. We're like, screw it, let's just go ride. Like it'll be fun. Like we're gonna make it fun. Dang it, like one of those things. And we rode trees actually in pouring down rain. Gear completely soaked through. Like just getting stuck everywhere. Like we kept running into trees because there's like icy spots, and it was just a complete mess. And it was just one of those things you just had to laugh at, like
sure.
You're just up there, riding the rain stuff. And then once again, it was spring, so longer days, and we got back. We were kind of about to head out, and it started to clear up. We were like, "Oh, no way!" Like now we have to stay and ride till dark.
Right.
And so we made a little fire and started thawing out some of our gear, drying out some of our gear. And then we went up, and we were like, we found like a little bit of an open area, and it was sunny. Like we watched the sunset, got some sunset shots. And
that's
it just was one of those days, like, yeah, complete 180. And it was just fun. Company was good. I enjoy riding with those guys down there a lot. And, it was just one of those days.
Sure. No, that's cool. And good on you boys for, having the mindset like that to make it into something like that. That's great. Yeah, exactly. And snowmobiling and a crappy day snowmobiling is better than, sitting behind a desk or running a shovel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nice. That's cool. So, let's talk a little bit about your relationship with Jaden. How did you guys kind of grow up together? How did you guys get introduced, or how did that all?
It's kind of a funny story actually. So I just met him actually for the first time last season. We rode for the first time and met him.
Okay.
And our wives actually, when they were like 3, used to play soccer together. 3 or 4, like a little tiny league, whatever it was, And so I randomly on Instagram had this guy, Jaden, Core Freshies, hit me up on Instagram and was like, "Hey man, like I think we have similar riding styles. Like we should ride together sometime."
Yeah.
And I'll admit I do have a little bit of a go-to when I don't necessarily want to ride with people, but I don't want to be rude about it,
Yeah.
And I always say, "Yeah, man, like we should definitely try and get out." But my season's getting kind of booked up, and like that's kind of a little bit of my thing. But
sure,
he's persistent, and we ended up riding together, had a freaking blast.
Yeah,
and now we're super good friends, and we're kind of partnering up on the Core Freshies thing, trying to get some merch coming out, and it's been a little bit of a process, but we're getting there, and now we're really good friends. Our wives hang out all the time, and
that's so
we
funny.
get to go snowmobiling while they hang out, and it works out great. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's super cool. That's a cool story that could all come together like that.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Like, what are the odds kind of a thing, but
100%. So let me ask you this: who's the better rider?
I don't know. That's one of those things. I mean, I'm a little biased towards myself, but James the Ripper, he blew me away the first time I rode with him. I was super stoked to ride with him. I wasn't expecting him to ride nearly as hard, and he's super fun to ride with. We push each other in the trees and stuff. And he just kind of started.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that about how, you know, I see, you know, a lot of times it's just the two of you, and so that's super cool. I mean, you guys are doing very similar moves, and just wanted. I think you were going to naturally talk about it, but the importance of, you know, you having that one or two, you know, riding buddies that you can jam with, and just, you know, just the two of you, just the three of you, whatever it is, that are really intensely pushing each other. I mean, that's, you know, from afar, watching your guys' stories and stuff, it obviously really looks like you guys definitely do that with each other for sure. Yeah,
definitely. And like, it's kind of fun too, because like actually last summer, it was June 26th, we road tripped over to Mount Baker and rode, and it was that really hot stuff. Yeah, and
guys were in t-shirts.
Tank tops and moto gear, and we were still dying of heat. It was super fun, but quite the experience. But he had never really gotten into jumping at all, and didn't have any interest. Like, was just all tree riding, and I was like, come on, like, let's just go build something real quick.
Yeah.
And by the end of the trip, he was hitting, you know, a good 60, 70 footer, and making the landing and everything, and like it was just cool to see that progression of, you know, no, I don't really want to hit anything, to let's build this little jump. Like, come on, like, you want to hit it, you know?
Heck yeah.
And then
that's cool.
He kind of got that itch, and now we've built a couple jumps this season, and he's all about it and everything. So, so
that's cool. Have you ever, I know Jaden have you ever gone to any like riding clinics or anything before, or you just?
No, actually I have not. I am actually doing one with Elevated Backcountry. They're newer avalanche training. I don't know if you've seen them on Instagram.
Yeah, I saw something about that you were promoting a couple of times. I've seen it.
Yep. Yeah, so I believe it's April 2nd and 3rd that weekend. I'm going over to Baker and working with them. I'm doing the skill side, and then they're going to do one day, and then the other day they're going to do some avalanche training, rescue training. So, which is kind of cool. It's a cool thing to be part of, and
100%.
And I'm all about teaching, getting more people out there, and hopefully get them in there, and, you know, do any skills, but hopefully get them in there this spring, and give them the itch that I have for hit and jump. So,
heck yeah, cool. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, I was just curious if you had gone to any of those clinics or not before. I know that I would certainly like to, for a couple of reasons. One, just to progress my riding in general, but then two, I also, you know, I'm doing these retreats, and this last weekend was the first one, and it was a big success. The boys had a really good time, and so I'm definitely going to push that further. And so, you know, selfishly, I want to go to some of these other clinics, because, you know, from afar, like Esturkey, Brant, they're doing a little bit of different take than what I'm doing, but I definitely want to see the entire, you know, step-by-step process that these guys are doing, and try to, you know, incorporate that into what I'm doing as well. So right on. So about this time, I always do this. Jeff, do you have a question for Scott? No, nothing. You're gassed. Yeah. So we're both. I will admit that Jeff and I are both pretty whooped from this last weekend. It was a lot, dude. So I've done, you know, I've put on or help do logistics for a lot of events down in Texas with one of the guys that actually, well, several of the guys that came up this weekend. But this one was a little bit different. You know, they all came up, and I had to do 5 rental sleds. We rented a big Airbnb, and I did a lot of the cooking, with the exception of dinners. So cooking and cleaning, and, you know, teaching those boys how to ride, and then riding all day, and just it was a lot. Oh my gosh, it was a lot. It was super fun, but, you know, it's definitely super taxing. So the last like 2 or 3 days, Jeff and I have kind of been just very incoherent, and just not even here, honestly. But
yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is. So I guess let's talk a little bit like moving forward as far as, you know, any kind of intentions or vision that you have for yourself, whether, you know, you kind of touched a little bit about doing some stuff with Core Freshies with Jaden. Is there like, you know, I guess what does the future hold for you as far as, you know, I know things happen out of our control, but things that you're like working towards, whether that may be like other sponsorships or, you know, turning snowmobiling into a business in some way, shape or form, or just progressing your riding. What's some of the things that you have like your sights on for yourself to accomplish?
You know, one of my biggest goals is to get a factory deal, which right now, like I was going to say, we'll kind of go into that, the Arctic Cat thing. Unfortunately, right now the race program is discontinued for the year, so you know, didn't get a new sled this year, but still kind of working with them on parts and everything. You know, still supporting the brand and
Sure.
they're supporting me and stuff, but. Yeah, my ultimate goal is to get on my goal is to get on Black Cat's team with Arctic Cat. You know, and been working with have had a few leads on trying to work with some people over there at Arctic Cat, and you know, I'm working with them on the race program right now. So hopefully try and, you know, just keep growing and you know, all the way around in the industry and just kind of go from there. You know, again, one of my other sponsors, 509, I've been working with them for a few years now, and trying to kind of work my way up. And this year, kind of transitioning over to kind of the A team or whatever you want to call it. So,
Sure.
Which is kind of cool. And that was always one of my biggest goals as a kid, was to kind of work into that. And you know, I pinch myself, man. Sometimes it's crazy. Like, like in the last 6-7 years that I've been doing the whole sponsorship thing, it's crazy to see like where I started from literally a nobody, like, and now I'm getting sponsored by 509 and you know, factory deals, and you know, hopefully just keep growing and work into a pro deal or something. You know,
Sure.
As far as, you know, doing it as a, you know, profession, I don't think it's really all that doable. I don't want to turn it into work.
Yeah,
I enjoy real estate, so
Sure.
you know, I'm totally content with that, and that having the flexibility to go riding, sometimes grabbing a day here and there in the week, you know, that's big. And I don't want to turn it into work. I want it to be fun.
Yep.
I never want it to become not fun, and I feel like if I turned it into work, it would just not be as fun.
I feel you 100%.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on, you know, the progression, like you had said, when you had first started with all the sponsorship game and to where you're at now. I'm a big believer in, which this might be controversial or not, I don't know, but I definitely believe that we get what we deserve in life, right? And so you obviously deserve everything that you have because you're probably putting in the work, right? So
yeah, definitely. Definitely put work.
So it's, you know, it's cool for, you know, to you to be humble enough to reflect back on, you know, where you started and where you're at now and be super grateful for it. But it's obviously, you know, coming, you know, full circle for you because you are worthy and deserving of it. Because you put in the work for it. You know,
I appreciate that.
100%, man. I mean, you know, I haven't been following you for too long. About, you know, whenever I saw you on, I think I was following Core Freshies first, and then whenever he posted about you, you know, I've been following you since. So it's definitely cool. And I said the same thing to Jaden, you know, just to watch the progression and watch how you boys ride, and it's you know, it's super motivational, and it's, you know, very encouraging for me to to step up my game and stuff. You know, the two of you are some of my favorite guys to definitely watch. And so I will say the exact same thing that, 100%. I will say the exact same thing that I said to Jaden. You know, at some points, you know, I know people are very reserved about who they choose to ride with and stuff, but it would be cool for, you know, for Jeff and I to come up there and meet you guys in person.
Yeah.
And, you know, you probably heard me say this again to to Jaden on the last one, but that's kind of the overall big goal of doing this podcast stuff is like, it'd be really sick to meet cool local dudes, and ride with them in their local area without giving up the honey holes. Ride with them in their local area for the day, right? And then by night, go out to dinner or whatever, and then do a podcast talking, same kind of stuff what we just talked about, but then to be able to reference the actual day, right? Because inevitably something's going to happen, someone's going to crash, someone's going to break something, whatever. And so to be able to talk about that stuff in the podcast that night, I think that'd just be super cool, and to highlight, your guys' hometown and whatnot. So, and, by being able to come up and, meet the two of you, that's two birds, one stone, to be able to do like a group podcast with you guys, and ride with you up there. I am actually, Jeff and I are headed up to, I don't know if it's like Priest Lake, but he's staying in, outside of Sandpoint. The 21st, I think. So Justin Ponzer, that runs Sled USA.
Oh yeah.
He's going to be up there with a handful of guys. I don't know, like 10 or 12 guys or something. They're getting a big place up there. And so we were going to go up there and shake hands with him, and I think ride with him and his group for the day or whatever, and then try to pull off some podcasts that night. We're only going to stay up there for one night, and 10 or 12 guys, that's a lot of podcasts. So we'll see what we can pull off with. But I don't know if there's any way to, coordinate. Jaden said that, because I think Jaden's sponsored by Sled USA.
Yeah.
Are you too, or?
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm not.
Okay. Jaden said that he was going to reach out to Justin or something and talk about that. I don't know what's going to happen there, but at some point, I mean, definitely like to keep in touch with you and put something together, whether that's, this season, whether that's this next trip, this next week or whatever, or even into next season or whatnot. But, and it would be kind of cool to, cause Mount Baker is not too far from me. So if you boys do like another summer thing, that'd be,
definitely is.
That'd be interesting.
We'll see.
I've never ridden in June before. I'd like to check that box. That'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely a bizarre experience, especially with that 100+ degree temperature while we were riding. It was like a couple days later, and it was, all the snow was gone.
Yeah, perfect timing on your part then.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we'll definitely have to get out. You guys can definitely, we can even hook you up with a place to stay, and
sick.
Cool. We'll make it happen sometime for sure.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm excited about that, and we're definitely gonna have to. I mean, we can do it in person too, but we'll definitely have to set up a call. I'd like to jam with you on some real estate stuff too.
For sure.
So, Scott, I appreciate you jumping on here, and it looks like we're at about 45 minutes now. I know there was a gap there in between when we were switching the setup for a minute there, but I would like to end in the Sled Talk episode with the Sled Talk question of the day. So for all of the listeners and viewers, you got a question for them?
Yeah, I do actually. What is the most useful mod to your sled?
That's a good one.
My question.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. These have been pretty fun and super engaging on TikTok and Instagram and stuff for us. And people, like, it's cool to see people getting thumb wars, about certain stuff. It's always super fun to see. Yeah, it's always super fun to see people's answers and reactions, and and it's definitely turned my eyes onto some different things throughout, asking these questions and whatnot. So yeah, for all of you guys listening and watching, definitely comment below, regardless of what platform you are on, with your answer and what you guys think is the best mod that you can put on your sled. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Again, Scott, thank you for jumping on here. I appreciate it. We will definitely get you.
For having me.
Totally, 100%, man. We'll definitely get you the video, and we'll do some short clips and whatnot, and we'll send you a Dropbox folder so you can utilize that content on your own platforms. And then we'll put we will put your Instagram. Do you have TikTok or YouTube or a Facebook page?
I have a Facebook page, which I can get over to you as well, but
okay.
I'm mostly just on Instagram. I tried doing TikTok thing, and I don't know.
Yeah.
don't have a lot of interest in it. I have a pretty big following, decent following on Instagram, so and I'm just trying to focus on that.
Getting close to 10K, baby.
I know, dude. I'm close. I just want that K. I just want that K.
Yeah,
so bad, you know?
Oh, I know. Well, cool. All right. Yeah, we'll put all that stuff in the description. So definitely for those of you tuning in, give Scott a follow on said platforms. And yeah, we will wrap this up. Again, appreciate you tuning in, and we will talk to all of you guys soon. If you are, on podcast, definitely download, leave us a review. YouTube, smash the like button, subscribe. I know you guys have probably heard this before, but if you're new episode every single Friday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So tune in. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
100K on the Protect, Philippe. Living life with no regrets. I can't designer when I get dressed. Summertime on winter fresh. I put her legs behind her head. Night, she gone to bed. Bye-bye. Every day it's a new test. I just keep chasing these chicks. Living life with no